أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واذكر في الكتاب إبراهيم إنه كان صديقا نبيا. My dear respected elders and brothers, today we are in the 41st ayat after the ruku in Surah Maryam. And as was mentioned before in Surah Maryam, we had already done the story of Zakaria alayhi salam and his need for a child, and Allah Ta'ala blessed him with that. Someone who was asking to go through the normal means of getting a child, and it was anyway against the norm because Allah Ta'ala blessed Zakaria alayhi salam and his father both, and his wife both, with the child at a very old age. After that, a step further, the story of Maryam radiallahu anha, the mother of Isa alayhi salam, and that was where Allah Ta'ala told the beautiful story of her, what she experienced. The surah's name is given after her, and the purpose was the qudrat, to show the qudrat and the great power of Allah Ta'ala, that without the means of a father, He brought a life into this world, and that was the life of the great Prophet Isa alayhi salam. We did the story of him, and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts going into the story of some other anbiya, and He starts with the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. The ulama have said the connection between this and the story that came before is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a nabi without a father. And also Allah ta'ala tested the anbiya in such ways where He gave them fathers who were non-Muslim as well. They were disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Prophet had to withstand these tests and go through these tests of giving da'wah to their fathers and seeing their fathers reject them and threaten them and fall away from the deen, and they had to even do the hijrah and leave their fathers or their parents and their families as well. So Allah Ta'ala mentions to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِبْرَاهِيمِ, and mention in the book. Al-Kitab is one of the names in Quran, of the Quran. Al-Kitab, this is one of the names of the Quran. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, Al-Kitab. So it means actually وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْقُرْآنِ, mention in the Quran, mention in this book, Ibrahim, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. إِنَّهُ كَانَ صِدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا, verily he was a man of truth, very truthful person, Ibrahim alayhi salam. Nabiyan, and he was a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we go on in the surah, today we will discuss the difference between a Nabi and a Rasul, which is mentioned here in these ayat. Allah Ta'ala does not mention all the aspects of the story of Ibrahim, but touches on the da'wat and the relationship that he had with his father. Ibrahim alayhi salam's father, whose name is in the Quran also, Azar, was not only an idol worshipper, but he was one who sculpted idols. He used to make idols. His dukan and his store was where they sculpted idols, and people would buy these idols from him. And he was very into the rituals of his people. When Ibrahim alayhi salam got prophethood as a young child, and already as a young child was already going against the shirk, so his father disliked this. It was a source of disgrace in front of his people, and he had many arguments with Ibrahim alayhi salam, to such an extent that Ibrahim alayhi salam had to separate from him and leave him like that, in that state, and hope that Allah Ta'ala guides him, because he gave him all the da'wah and all the propagation that he could. But Ibrahim alayhi salam's father unfortunately did not accept, and he was also being quite violent and quite disrespectful to Ibrahim alayhi salam, while Ibrahim alayhi salam was keeping and holding on to his respect, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in regards to the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, إِذْ قَالَ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِ لِمَ تَعْبُدُ مَا لَا يَسْمَعُ وَلَا يُبْصِرُ وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْكَ شَيْئًا. He tells his father a very logical argument that, "O my father, إِذْ قَالَ Ibrahim," and remember when Ibrahim alayhi salam said to his father, "Ya abati, O my father, And this statement that he said, Ya abati, it's a statement of love. This is how you call your father. Like, for example, we will call our father Baba. In English, they call him Daddy. Oh, my dad. Oh, my father, my beloved dad. So he was telling his father, oh, my father, pleading to him, why are you worshipping that which does not hear? You're making dua to it. You are now supplicating to it. Doesn't hear your supplications. Wala yubsiru. It doesn't see also. You're in front of it, prostrating and making ruku and bowing and doing all type of rituals for it. It can't see you. Wala yukni anka shay'a. And going on to the akhirah, it will not be able to avail you at all. It won't be able to help you in anything. On the day of Qiyamah, when Allah Ta'ala judges you, these idols will have nothing to say to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They have no shirkat, no partnership with Him, and they have no power. They're just merely rocks, pieces of wood, stone, and statues that have no life. So this is always the very logical presentation to those people who are involved in shirk and idol worshipping, that these are just idols. They have no type of power. And how could you worship these things? He then tells his father and pleads to him even more and says, Ya abati inni qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam ya'tik. ما لم يأتك فاتبعني أهدك صراطا سويا. He tells his father, not translating, but just giving you the khulasa so far in the summary of it. He tells his father, oh my father, what can I do? It's not my fault. I've just got some knowledge. Allah Ta'ala has given me this prophethood, this nabuwat. You've got a lot of things over me, Dad. You've got age over me. You have experience over me. You're my father, I respect you. But Allah has given me this knowledge that He didn't give you. He's given me this prophethood. And it didn't come to you. It's not my fault. You don't have the knowledge of prophethood. You just don't know about this. You just don't know about this tawheed. And if you don't know, don't worry. فَاتَّبِعْنِي. Just follow me. I'm your son. Just follow me on this. You don't have to, give me any money anymore. You don't have to support me. Just follow me. فَاتَّبِعْنِي. I'll show you the straight path. I'll do everything. Just do the ittiba and follow me, because I am a prophet and you're not. I've got this knowledge of nubuwwat that I want to share with you. Look at how he's pleading to his father. Ya abati, oh my father, verily it has come to me a knowledge. And al-ilm here means nubuwwat, that he is a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ma lam ya'tika, that did not come to you. You don't have this knowledge of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're following the rituals of your forefathers. I'm getting revelation from the Creator. Please follow me. فَاتَّبِعْنِي. Follow me. أَهْدِكَ صِرَاطًا سَوِيًّا. I will guide you. I will show you. صِرَاطًا سَوِيًّا, towards a path. Sirat means tariq. I will show you towards a path. Sawiyan, which is straight. It will go straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what He is pleased with. يا أبت لا تعبد الشيطان إن الشيطان كان للرحمن عصيا. Oh my father, don't worship shaitan. Don't worship the devil. Obviously, Ibrahim alayhi salam's father was not a devil worshipper, but this in the Arabic language, we call this ta'alluq sababiyya. This is when the Arabs in their language, they talk and they say, what's the reason why something is being done? Shaitan, nobody worships shaitan, but shaitan is the reason why people worship idols and things like this. He's the one that tricks them. For example, if I say that the mayor fixed the sewer system, the mayor, we had problems with the sewer system in New York, and the mayor fixed the sewer system. The president, he fixed the economy. Now, if you go sit with the president, probably half of the things that the economy has to be fixed to, he doesn't even know knowledge of it. If you go to the mayor and tell him that, what are the ways we can fix the sewer system? He'll say, I don't know. Put a plunger? I don't know. Let's get the dirt out. Huh? But he's the one that hired the group. He's the one that got everyone together. He's the one that gathered the funds, got the people to pass the legislation, so that now we can fix the sewer system. So by saying the mayor, he fixed the sewer system, he didn't, but he's the sabab. He's the reason and the means why we did it. So therefore, that's why we say in the Arabic language, this is ala tariq al-sababiyya. This is now shaitan is not being worshipped, but he's the reason why people worship idols. He's the one that puts it in their mind. And even if they're doing it from forefathers, we know from the hadith and from the tarikh, Ibn Kathir is mentioned also in Bidayah wa Nihaya, that shaitan was the one that had initiated the worship of idols. He started off with the pious people before, after the time of Adam alayhi salam, a little bit, couple of 100 years before Nuh alayhi salam. People used to have respect for their elders. After they had respect and they were so sad that they passed away and they mourned their death, so shaitan would come in the form of a human being and tell them that, listen, why don't you just erect some picture about them so that when you feel sad about them, you can see them. I said, why not? And they started bringing the pictures, drew a picture of them. Then why don't you make a statue, something that stands, a little bit more of respect and honor, commemorating, respecting them, honoring them. Okay, no problem. Then next thing you know, they're making sajda in front. And as the time went on and the piety left less, so the people then thought that this was exactly what the religion was, and to worship idols and to worship our forefathers was no problem. This is how the shirk started. So shaitan is the initiator of shirk. That's why he says, La ta'budu shaitan. He wasn't worshipping the devil. But don't listen to the devil when he tells you. Don't listen to shaitan when he tells you that worship the idols. This is what your forefathers are upon. How could you go against your grandfather? How could you go against everybody? And for these flimsy and weak reasons of leaving idol worshipping and coming to Tawheed, don't follow that, O Father. La ta'budu shaitan. Inna shaitana kana lirrahmani asiyya. Why? The shaitan, verily shaitan, he was disobedient to Rahman, to the merciful. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, Ushtudu li Adam, fasajjad al-malaikatu kulluhum ajma'in illa Iblis. Allah ta'ala gave the hukum and the order, everybody must prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. This is my creation. This is my order in regards to them. Out of respect, you must prostrate to them. Everybody prostrated except Iblis. He's the only one that did not prostrate. This is what he's talking about. Kana lirrahmani asiyya. Ya abati inni akhafu an yamassaka adhabun min ar-rahmani fatakuna lish-shaytani waliya. O my father, I fear that a punishment from Rahman will afflict you. If you keep worshipping the idols either in this dunya, and of course, no doubt if you die on that in the akhirat, in the hereafter, Allah will punish you. And it's very incredible the words that Ibrahim alayhi salam uses, because on one side you have adab, and one side you have Rahman. He could have said that adabun min Allah, adabun min al-alim, adabun min al-muntaqim. But he said adabun min ar-Rahman, to show that the iman and faith, it is between khawf and also raja. The one that's punishing you, just turn to him, O my father. The one that's ready to punish you for idol worship, just turn to him, and he's Rahman. And he will change into the most merciful, and he'll grant you the best of paradise that nobody can even think about. That's why the famous hadith of Bukhari where Rasulullah is mentioned, Al-Iman bayn al-khawfi wal-raja. That the Iman is based on khawf, the fear of Allah Ta'ala, and based on hope in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Iman, this is the basis. That's why many times in ayats of Quran, you see the punishment, but then the one who's punishing is Rahman, the merciful. How can that be? They're both antithesis and they're both opposites. This is the reason. That one who's worshipping you, you should be afraid. That one who's punishing you, you should be afraid of him. But at the same time, remember, he's Rahman. That's why Mullah Ali Qari, rahimahullah, a great scholar of hadith, he says that when Allah Ta'ala said, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, when he said Bismillah, then it's almost as such that the hearts of the khaifeen, those people who fear Allah Ta'ala, their hearts were about to explode from the fear of Allah. Bismillah. And then when Allah Ta'ala said Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, then their hearts after that became soft and they knew that Allah is Rahman and Rahim also. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Adabun min ar-Rahman. فَتَكُونَ لِلشَّيْطَانِ وَلِيًّا, and you will become for shaitan a friend. You will become his partner. And this is what shaitan wants. إِنَّمَا يَدْعُو حِزْبَهُ لِيَكُونَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. Shaitan, he calls all his friends and calls everyone. Why? He wants them to join him in Jahannam. That's it. He knows he's going Jahannam. And he wants how many people I can get in there also to join me in Jahannam. That's why Ibrahim alayhi salam saying, then you will be a companion, a friend with shaitan in the Jahannam, and that I don't want from you. Therefore, listen to me, O my father. Now his father, what is the reply? قَالَ أَرَاغِبٌ أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ لَئِن لَّمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ وَاهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا. He tells after his son says to him different things and with respect and honor, and gives him a very logical argument against his shirk and against the idolatry that he's doing and the false religion. So all he can say is, are you disinclined towards my idols? Alihati? All these idols that I worship, you don't like them, O Ibrahim? لَإِن لَّمْ تَنْتَهِ, if you don't stop talking like this, لَأَرْجُمَنَّكُمْ, I will stone you. I'll pelt you with rocks. وَاهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا, leave from me for a very long time. Maliya means waqtun tawil, a very long time. Get away from me. Basically, he told his son, I'll beat you, get away from me, get out of here. This was the reply of his father, and all of the beautiful da'wah that Ibrahim alayhi salam gave him, he didn't understand one word of it. All he was worried about was his idols and the fact that he's the father. How could you speak to me in such a way? I'm talking to you, Ibrahim saying, I'm talking to you about Jannat and Jahannam and salvation, the Akhirah, and you're worried about respect and honor and your fatherhood and all these things? Sometimes you have to put that on the side and listen to the child if he's speaking haqq. So this is the reply of his father. Once he sees this, and Ibrahim alayhi salam did not want to fight his father, and this is in this small amount of ayats, Allah has taught us an usul, a rule in deen, that you may disagree with your parents. It happens, disagreement, especially if the parent is on batil. Parents are not perfect, they're human beings just like anyone. Father might be wrong, mother might be wrong, and you disagree with them. Disagreement is okay. It's going to happen. It's natural. But in no way you should disrespect your parents. If you don't want you to do something, tell them nicely, listen, I can't do it. That's just the way I am. This is my deen, my religion. I'm sorry, I cannot do it. My father, I love you. Oh, my dad, I love you. I just can't do that. Nothing. Hey, you get out of here, dad. Stupid. You don't know nothing. These are the type of things the son says to the father. You don't know nothing. And you and mom are crazy. And they go to their room and shut the door and this, that. This is wrong. And this is the sin, because respect of the parent in all times has to always be there. Must respect the parent all the time. Disagreement, that happens, of course. So here we see that Ibrahim alayhi salam didn't disrespect him, but he didn't agree with him, and he set that up. After this he says, قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكَ رَبِّي إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. Salamun alayk. He tells that peace be upon you. Meaning, goodbye. I'm done. I can't start now fighting with you. I've told you, you're becoming violent. You're going to start throwing rocks at me. I'll have to defend myself. I just can't stand here and take pelting of rocks. And things are going to get bad. Therefore, I'm leaving you. And after that he said, سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكُ رَبِّي, I will make the istighfar, I will ask for forgiveness for you. إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. Verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very kind to me. Allah ta'ala is very gracious to me. I'm hoping that through that istighfar, Allah ta'ala will soften your heart and you will become a Muslim. Now, on the subject, just to talk about the Quran, the understanding of the istighfar of Ibrahim for his father. We shouldn't misunderstand it. One time one person came to Ali radiallahu anh, and He said, I'm going to make istighfar for my father, even though he's a mushrik and he's passed away. So Ali radiallahu anhu then said, why are you doing that for? So he said that in the Quran it says that Ibrahim alayhi salam made the istighfar for his father. So then Ali radiallahu anhu went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the ayat came down, قَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِلَّا قَوْلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لِأَبِيهِ. The ayat came down that Ibrahim alayhi salam is a perfect role model for everybody. And the people who followed him also. They're perfect role models, the way they left their families. But Allah Ta'ala says also, إِلَّا قَوْلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ, except for the statement of Ibrahim when he said to his father, I'm going to make istighfar. That we don't follow Ibrahim alayhi salam. We cannot follow that. We cannot say istighfar if our fathers and mothers are non-Muslim. You can't make istighfar for them. You can ask Allah Ta'ala to guide them. But you cannot make the dua of istighfar, because istighfar and forgiveness of sins only comes when a person is guided. Then after that, sins can drop off. Sins are piled on until that person becomes Muslim. So Allah Ta'ala has clearly said that we are not supposed to follow Ibrahim alayhi salam in regards to the istighfar. Now what's left over of the istighfar of Ibrahim alayhi salam? Was it right or wrong for him to do it? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in another ayat of the Quran, ما كان استغفار إبراهيم لأبيه إلا عن موعدة وعدها إياه فلما تبين أنه عدو لله تبرأ منه. Allah Ta'ala mentions in another ayat of the Quran that Ibrahim alayhi salam's istighfar for his father was only because he promised it to his father. And Ibrahim alayhi salam never goes against his promise. And once it was realized that his father was an enemy of Allah Ta'ala, for example, maybe he passed away, or he started becoming an enemy to Ibrahim alayhi salam and said, I'll never become a Muslim. Tabarra'a min. He stopped making istighfar. Then he said. So basically, the istighfar of Ibrahim alayhi salam was basically, he was saying that I'm going to ask Allah Ta'ala to guide you. It wasn't really like an istighfar to forgive his sins, but this istighfar was so that I can guide, that you can be guided. And then later on, just to be safe, when Ibrahim alayhi salam saw that his father was a non-Muslim completely, and he was adu, an enemy of Allah Ta'ala, tabarra'a min, then he left the istighfar and said, I will not make istighfar anymore for him. So that basically is the discussion about the istighfar of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He said after that, إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِحَفِيًّا, Allah Ta'ala is very gracious to me. I'm hoping that by making istighfar and asking for your guidance, Allah will guide you. وَأَعْتَزِلُكُمْ وَمَا تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَأَدْعُو رَبِّي عَسَىٰ أَلَّا أَكُونَ بِدُعَاءِ رَبِّي شَقِيًّا. وَأَعْتَزِلُكُمْ, I am going to separate myself from you. And I'm separating myself to all those things that you call other than Allah Ta'ala. وَأَدْعُو رَبِّي, and I will make dua to my Lord. I'll keep making dua that, Ya Allah, guide my father, guide my people, open up the ways for them. عَسَىٰ أَلَّا أَكُونَ بِدُعَاءِ رَبِّي شَقِيًّا, and I know that I will not become wretched through making dua to my Lord. Why did Ibrahim alayhi salam say this? Because he was telling his father basically that you are making dua to the idols, and by making dua to the idols, you will become wretched on the day of Qiyamah. I will continue to make dua to my Lord, and I know that by making dua to Allah, I will not become wretched on the day of Qiyamah. I will become from the su'ada and those who are the fortunate on the day of Qiyamah. فَلَمَّا اعْتَزَلَهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا. When he separated from them, from his family, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and whatever they had worshipped other than Allah Ta'ala, went away from their religion, وَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ, we blessed him, we gifted him with his son Ishaq, and then Ishaq had the son Yaqub. وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا, and each one of them, we made them prophets. This is a very beautiful message, because Ibrahim alayhi salam leaving all of his family, and a person, imagine tomorrow, if you were to do hijrah from your whole family. The fear, of course, would be that I've got no more family now. I've got nothing. I left all my family. Now I have nothing. But because Ibrahim alayhi salam feared Allah Ta'ala, and Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, وَمَا يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Anybody who fears Allah Ta'ala, then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will provide for that person from places he never ever imagined. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala took away the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam, but then Allah Ta'ala gave him two sons that became the holders of the progeny of Bani Israel. His family, then the prophet, the line of prophethood to the Bani Israel started from Ibrahim alayhi salam and went all the way down. We know that Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail and Ishaq. Ismail was Bani Ismail. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam has come from there. And then we have the Ishaq, Yaqub, and then after Yaqub, all the different prophets came from there. Yusuf alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam. All of them have come from the progeny of Yaqub, who's also called Israel. It's going to come later on in the surah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Ibrahim alayhi salam, and this is also the message to all Muslims who have this type of problem. There are many Muslims who become new Muslims, and they accept Islam, and they have to leave their fathers and mothers. Alhamdulillah, many a time, Allah ta'ala blesses them with so much family. My own sake, from my own experience. Right? I didn't leave my family, alhamdulillah, I still have my mother and father, and I'm still with them, everything. But Allah, by leaving them, I thought maybe I'd have no family. Now, I don't know how many nephews and nieces I have, and my whole living room was full with kids running around, and I have so many family members, and everything is assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, and a beautiful mother-in-law and everything. Allah Ta'ala blesses. Where would Allah Ta'ala give a Puerto Rican someone, marriage into a Afghani's family? Where the hell would that happen? It's impossible. We run away from Puerto Ricans if you see them on the street at night. But because of deen, only because of deen and Quran and the ilm and knowledge and these type of things and trying to worship Allah Ta'ala as we do, then Allah Ta'ala blesses you and gives you izzah in this world and the hereafter. I always tell the youth that Allah Ta'ala, if you do the deen, Allah will give you izzah, and the izzah is different. It's not the izzah of a Mercedes-Benz or an Infinity. It's not the izzah of an iPhone 6. It's an izzah that really doctors will stand up for you. Presidents will stand up for you. People will pray behind you. People will give you their kids to teach them. What kind of izzah is that? That's the most incredible izzah Allah Ta'ala can give. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا. All these people became prophets. Ibrahim alayhi salam, his sons, his grandsons, they all became prophets. وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُم مِّن رَّحْمَتِنَا وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ عَلِيًّا. And we gifted them from our mercy. Many other things. Allah Ta'ala gave them dunya also, where they became rich, and they became the sons later on of Dawood alayhi salam, Sulaiman and Dawood alayhi salam. They became rich also. Allah Ta'ala blessed them with so much riches. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ. And we made for them, meaning for Ibrahim alayhi salam and his sons, we made them lisan sidqin aliyya. We made for them lisan. Lisan, again, this is what I call a tariqa sababiyya. It means dhikr, praise. But a person praises through his what? His tongue, right? So the tongue is the means of praise. So that's why it actually means, lisan here means praise. True, honorable praise we gave Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam is one of the prophets. Even Muhammad sallallahu does not have this. Even Isa alayhi salam does not have this. Ibrahim alayhi salam is one of the only prophets that have this. Even Adam alayhi salam doesn't have this, because people say Adam is the first man, but they don't consider him a prophet. When a Muslim says to someone, Adam was a prophet, they say, what, prophet? What do you mean prophet? He didn't get a book. So nobody really, but Ibrahim alayhi salam, in every religion, even Hinduism, there is good praise of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Everybody speaks good of him. The Yahud speak good of him. The Yahud don't speak good of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They don't speak good of Isa. And the Christians speak good of him. The Christians don't speak good about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they speak good about Ibrahim alayhi salam. And the Muslims, we have the great respect for Ibrahim alayhi salam. So every single religion in this world and all the people, they all have a common respect for Ibrahim alayhi salam. Everybody has honor for him. Everybody has the respect for him. And this is what Allah Ta'ala has done. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ. Allah Ta'ala says, we've made that for them. We made for them lisan, praise, sidqin, which is true. Aliyya, and it's very lofty, very high lofty praises we have made for them. After this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the story of Musa alayhi salam. Inshallah, we'll carry on with that next week. And then after that, Allah ta'ala mentions a couple of stories of some other anbiya. Inshallah, we'll mention those as well as we carry on and try to finish Surah Maryam, inshallah.